was lost but not forgotten, redeemed by the only begotten, the Son of God, he lives in me. Oh yeah. Among the sinner I am champion.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Corona. This is Anthony Sadi with Men of Impact Radio at Hope Studios. It's been a long time. I haven't been here in a couple of years, but I'm super excited back to be here. I know it's a different time, a different day, and I'm not even sure how we're going to do this all yet going forward. But this is I wanted to get started. I want to get started as soon as possible. So I have a very important guest here today. I'm going to introduce him in a minute. Just to tell you a little bit about what's going on here. Here's my belief, my mission statement. I don't really have a mission statement exactly, but my belief is that we as men are called to be the spiritual leaders in our families, in our communities, and the world. So I hope tonight's this conversation encourages everybody out there to understand that there are men out there in our cities and our countries who I consider actual heroes. They're the ones that are doing the right things at the right times for the right people. It's character. Character is what you do when people aren't watching. That's how you judge somebody's character. So we as men, in my belief, now this is an opinion of mine, but in my belief, we need to step up, be bold and courageous in our beliefs, our values, and our morals. There's not a lot of that going on out there today, and we have a lot of problems out there in this country. And as we all know, if we as men were doing what we were supposed to do, what we were ordained to do, we wouldn't have things like foster care, adoption, single moms, CPS, rehab, maybe not even prisons the way that we have them today. So we've got to do our best, guys. We are the ones that got to do it. We got to step up and bring back the family as soon as possible. A couple of things is a couple of scriptures I always like to go to is Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another and influences another through discussion. And my life verse is Philippians 2:3. Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. And that's all others, guys, better than yourselves. If everybody lived that way, that we thought of all others as better than ourselves, what a completely different world we'd live in. So today I've got a young man, and honestly, I've been waiting for this young man, waiting for him to grow up so I could get him on the radio. We did this for a couple of years, and now I haven't been back for a couple of years. So this all started, when this all started, he was only 16 years old. So I brought him on here because he's a young man who has a completely different story than me, thank God. And that's part of the reason why I brought him up on here is I have a very colorful story, and he has a colorful story as well, but in a different fashion. So he is the owner of a couple of his own businesses, actually. He has 400,000 followers on YouTube, a sports clip channel. He has a company that he started, had to get certified and licensed and a whole bunch of different things called Germanex. During the 2020 COVID outbreak, he decided to help people who needed help disinfecting so they could get back to work. Because people need to get back to work. Mm-hmm. Also, he just is now partnering, or is part of, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but partnering with a friend of his with a clothing brand called #TeamJesus, which we're going to get into the website and everything, and so that you guys can go purchase some of that, because, hey, if you ain't on Team Jesus yet, you need to be on Team Jesus.
Let's go.
Plain and simple. That's just the way it goes. So I'm going to introduce him. He's going to talk. And then I've got some questions for him. We're going to talk a little bit about who he is, how he got here, and how his faith continues him down the road. His name is Cody Smith. I've known him since he was about 9 or 10 years old. Cody, say hello to everybody. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
What's up, everyone? I'm Cody Smith, and I appreciate Anthony for letting me come on here and kind of tell my story. I've always wanted to tell my story to a lot of people, because a lot of people ask me, and sorry, I'm coming closer. And but yeah, I'm Cody Smith. I'm 20 years old, born and raised in Corona, California. And I mean, yeah, I own, like he said, I own a couple businesses. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 13, 14 years old. And it's a gift from God for sure, because I wouldn't be where I am today without him, with my businesses, my life, and just everything in general. It's because of him. And yeah.
Okay, so I've got a lot to talk about, Cody. Let me tell you a little bit of a little thing about this that you're going to learn real soon. Is this hour, although you think what can we talk about for an hour, is going to be gone before you know
I'm
it.
sure.
Trust me. So there's a couple things that we got to talk about. I should have talked about some things maybe you didn't want to talk about, but I didn't do that this time.
Ooh.
But I don't know what we're going to talk about, but there's a few things. When we met, you were 9 or 10 years old. We were friends with your parents, right? So you were just the kid that was hanging out in the other room, right? But I remember when you were 13, and I just want to, let's start a little bit let's start there. Let's start with the first business you ever started. How did that get started?
So yeah, when I was 13, I was 7th or 8th grade I was probably 14. I was 7th or 8th grade in middle school at Crossroads, and I had like a crazy passion for fishing at the time. And just my mind was like, well, how am I going to make money? Like, I fish, like, how can I make money with fishing? And I came up with an idea to sell fishing equipment, reels, rods, and line and all that stuff, like Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's, and make my own company based on Southern California and stuff, which was called fishitnow.com at the age of 14. And it did super well. I mean, I was 14 years old with the company, making good money at the time when I was 14. And that's kind of how it started. My brain always moves in what can I do to make money and make a business. And it happened. It was crazy.
So one of the things that we talked about when we had met, and when we met, honestly, we didn't even talk. You're the one that brought up the radio show.
Yeah.
I had been talking about it to some of my guys and stuff about maybe I should do it again. There's a couple of my guys think that this is the most important thing I do. I do. So, and we'll talk about my guys towards the end, but I just hadn't been doing this, and then you brought it up, and then now we're just talking about it, and here we are. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank the Lord.
Thank you for getting me back here, right? So we were talking about that, and one of the things that you did mention when we were having that discussion was when you first got into it, it was all about the money, yeah?
Yeah, and kind of I can go deeper on that, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, so when I first started, it was kind of just like, it was all about the money. How can I make money to buy a new snowboard or a new RC car? When I was younger, that's what I wanted and stuff. And I mean, that was really the only reason why was I wanted to make some money and just kind of.
You want to be rich.
I want to be rich. And it was like, I want to be cool. Like, I want a company and I want to do all this stuff. And that's how it started. That's kind of how it started.
So in the beginning, you always knew that you were going to be you're in business for yourself.
I mean, I never knew, like, I just had a passion. It was weird. Like from other kids, like me and other kids, the difference is like, I've always like wanted to have a business. Like, I don't know why, like, I couldn't tell you, to be honest, like why I've always wanted to own a business or like create stuff. It's always just happened. And like, when I'm 14, kids are like going and having fun and stuff, like, which I still had fun too, but I was more interested in like, well, let me make a business. Like, it was, I don't know why, but my brain was just built, like God built my brain like that. I don't.
Well, and God does things for purposes that at 20 years old, you're not even sure what the purpose is at this point.
I still don't know what my purpose. Yeah.
You don't know what the purpose for him building your brain that way is.
Oh, no.
But here's one. It's to further the kingdom of God somehow, some way. Mm-hmm. Right? We know that, right?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. So what you do with it, it's okay to have a lot of money. It's what you do with it for the kingdom of God.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I was actually thinking about that today on the car ride is the whole money factor is, I always wondered, like, because when you read the Bible, it always talks about like money is the root of all evil. Like, that's kind of a big thing. And that's always kind of bugged me because like, I know I'm doing well for myself, but I'm like, well, money might, because like I want cars, I want this, and that's where the evil part comes from. I'm taking my brain away from God and trying to buy stuff. And what I've noticed now about money is, what can I do to further the kingdom of God with my money in terms of giving to the homeless, giving more offering for church. And that's what I've noticed is the money part now, since I've matured, it's about helping the kingdom of God any way that is, like I said, offering and giving and all that stuff.
Being on the show.
Yeah.
Because somebody might hear. what you do and how you got there. They may look at the money that they think or know that you're making.
Yeah.
And again, think about the things that you may have thought about, I want the women, I want the cars, I want the stuff, right? I want to be popular, whatever it was, right? So, but now they may hear it and it may make a difference to them. Some of these, because you can get lost.
Oh, 100%.
And some of these YouTube stars, which you are, right?
Yeah. I don't like to call myself one. Other people do. I mean.
Okay, let's at least call you a YouTuber. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I know there are a lot of people that have a lot more.
Yeah, of course.
Subscriptions than 400,000 subscribers, but that's still a huge number.
Yeah, it's awesome. It keeps growing too. That's the cool part.
It keeps growing, right? And you're making good money doing that.
Yeah, pretty well.
and then you started another company on top of that. So, and let me see if I can encourage you a little bit. The Bible doesn't actually say that money is the root of all evil. What it says is the love of money is the root of all evil. If you put the money before God, that's where the evil comes in.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Which I must have twisted that and
because that's what everybody teaches.
Yeah,
money is the root of all evil.
Which makes sense. The love of money, because people can make money and use it for good.
That's right.
But if you love money more than putting God,
if you put God first, right, He'll tell you what to do with your money.
Exactly.
Right.
I think it gets the problem where, like, if you love money so much where you're like, I would rather go out and make money and give 10 minutes to God and pray, but I have so much love for money that I'm not doing the 10 minutes of praying. I'm just going to go work. I think that's where
exactly
that's the problem of love.
That's the problem. Yeah. The other thing is, and listen, you're a 20-year-old with, I'm guessing, more money than most 20-year-olds, right?
Yeah. I know I'm sounding like I'm super I'm sorry.
And I know that that's a fear of yours. We discussed that it's a fear of yours that, people come up and ask you and they treat you as celebrity sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. And that is a fear. That's a good fear to have, Cody. Okay. Because some of these guys that don't have that fear, they're making bad decisions. Right. And, again, let's not listen, Cody's not perfect.
Oh yeah. Not at all.
He's made some bad decisions,
yeah.
But, your faith has kept you moving forward through the tough times. So one of the tough times you were telling me about, within your family, right? Because I remember growing up, this kid was the baseball star, right? And it was going to get him. And again, everybody, don't get me wrong. His parents never thought, we can't wait till we have a major leaguer. That's never what I heard from them. Here's what I heard from them. He's going to get into college and get himself a college education. That's what this baseball's for, right?
Yep, that's exactly what they said.
They never said, can't wait till the major leagues, push you to the major leagues. Just college, right?
Just college, get an education. That's what they said.
That's what they said, right? Now, by the time college started, how many followers did you have on YouTube?
You know what? I think when I started college, I had maybe I'm right under 200,000. So maybe 180,000 or something, close to there. It wasn't. Yeah, it was about 180,000.
So the goal was to play baseball at a level high enough to get yourself a scholarship, to get yourself an education. And did you play baseball at a level high enough to do that? Did you get a scholarship?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did get a scholarship. I went to Biola University, which is a Christian school. I got a baseball scholarship to play there. And yeah.
So take us through that, because I know that did not work out the way that your parents, or even you at that point, had thought, right?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting story because I know a lot of people know, a lot of people don't. But yeah, so I went to Biola University, 2019 fall. Yeah, 2019 fall. Played baseball during the fall, and kind of make it short and sweet, I lost my love for the game a bit. College baseball is another animal compared to high school and all that stuff. As well as schooling. I've never been a fan of school, and college really, I don't even know the word for it. It was tough. And
college itself is tough.
Yeah. And my passion for college, my passion for baseball, everything was at an all-time low. To be honest with you, I was at an all-time low as just like a person myself, like, because so many challenges, school, and obviously I'm at a Christian school, so it looks good. Obviously the devil's probably hit me hard because he's like, I don't want him here. And personally, that was probably the hardest time I've ever had as a human being on this earth, was during that 2019 fall. I decided to drop out of school, to quit baseball, which obviously was not easy in terms of my parents. They were not too happy, and I'm sure they're laughing listening at this. But yeah, it was a tough time. My family, to be honest, we were kind of mad at each other, and it was a decision that I made personally. I thought was right. They didn't. Some other people didn't think it was right. But it's till this day, I still don't know 100% if it was the right decision. Obviously, it shows right now it was the right decision because Germanex became a thing. YouTube took off again. It looks on the outside it was the right decision. I'm not 100% positive if it was the right decision like God wanted me to do. Mm-hmm. Still trying to figure that out. But in terms of like the success on the outside, it was the right decision. But yeah, that was what happened in college. I dropped out, so I'm a college dropout.
I don't know if you can drop out of college. You can quit college.
Yeah, I like the college dropout thing. I mean, it's interesting.
It is.
But yeah, that's kind of my college story in a little nutshell. I mean, I didn't go into detail, but yeah, interesting story. Interesting part of my life, I would say. I will remember forever.
Family dynamic changed for a while.
Yeah, for a little bit. I mean, it was, like I said, it was tough with the family. It was tough because my decision didn't really make sense to anyone else. Because I had everything in terms of a baseball scholarship and at a Christian school, which the school was great. And the school it was the best school I could have possibly been in. If I went to any other school, I think it would have been even worse. But yeah, it definitely was a life changer. Like a lot of things happened in my life that changed from that situation and decision. And a good thing. I mean, I haven't gotten anything really bad out of it. So, but.
And not this, college isn't necessarily, it's not a requirement. It's not everybody is supposed to be in college. So, I think based on what you're doing now with your life and how it's going and how you profess your faith, mm-hmm. Who knows what God has for you in the future anyways, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a scary and cool part, in my opinion, is you don't know, but it's like a toss up. Like you don't know what good's going to happen to you. You don't know what bad's going to happen to you, but you're going to learn from that. And that's what I've noticed is especially with business, failing. Because on the outside, I have all these successful companies, but I've had failing companies and I've had failing segments of these companies when they start up. It's like I learned so much in faith and too, like certain things that happen in my faith, just like with relationships with people and all that good stuff. Like it's turned me into the person I am now because I learned from those mistakes. So I think it's a good and bad thing for sure.
I remember when you first started the YouTube, right? You hit a rough spot for a minute, right?
Yeah. I mean, I had, to make it quick, I had a channel called Sports Maniac. That was the first time I ever did.
What's the channel called now?
Highlight Reel.
Okay.
So Sports Maniac was the thing. I made it when I was like 15, middle school. And it didn't take off. Nothing happened. And, I left it for a couple months and then I decided to come back to it, make new thumbnails, post better videos, and just try it out again. Like, honestly, I did not think anything was going to happen. It was just worth a shot. It was no risk, high reward at that point. I come back a month later and it has like 20,000 views a video. I have 100 subs. I'm like, whoa, this is cool. Kept doing it. I grew that channel, long story short, to about 48,000. I get a call from the NBA. They want to yank me down off YouTube for certain things with my videos. Long story short, I got taken down. Well, during that time, Highlight Reel was made by my brother Matthew, so shout out Matt.
Shout out Matt.
I gave him a shout out for Highlight Reel, which is today. He had about 700 subs, and I said, well, let's try to restart it again. Because one thing in business, faith, everything, is you're gonna fail. You're gonna have to learn. So I failed. I learned my mistakes of what happened in my YouTube channel, what I need to do better, and what I need to stay away from. And I did that with Highlight Reel. And I grew it, and I still had some problems on the way. I had to get a lawyer to talk to some people, but I've learned so much from all that to where I am today. I'm comfortable because everything I learned, all the mistakes, it won't happen again. So, but now Highlight Reel's at 400,000, but yeah, that's kind of like the story of how everything kind of unfolded.
So it wasn't, and I guess the moral here is it's not all perfect. Just because he's only 20 years old, right, doesn't mean he didn't have his failures, but he just kept going through, kept praising Jesus the whole time.
Yeah.
And now here you are. And listen, I like to talk real on the show, right? So at 20 years old, you've got this going on, all of this going on, a couple of your own businesses and everything. So how's the pressure from the ladies?
That's a funny question.
Because you're
honestly.
a good-looking guy.
Thank you.
You're tall. You got money.
Yeah.
So I know you're getting the pressure, which means, and here's the reality, which means it's the enemy.
Oh, 100%.
Pressing in.
I 100% agree with you.
Trying to influence you to go the other way.
Yeah. And to kind of go on that's a funny story because to be honest with you, during high school, I was a big dude. Like I was a big stocky guy. Like just that's how our family's built, big stocky guy. So I wasn't like one of those guys. Like I was obviously like I liked girls, but I wasn't like I was more focused on baseball and YouTube. So I wasn't in high school. I wasn't that crazy about them. Girls weren't crazy about me or anything. So it was like I didn't really care. I don't even know if I want to talk about senior year, but senior year was interesting. Had a relationship.
You don't have to talk about anything you don't want to talk about.
No, I think it's good learning because I would just I had a relationship in senior year.
But remember, there's guys your age.
Yeah, that's why they're pretty cool to talk about it.
Yes.
Relationship senior year, that was went too fast. Like I think we discussed this a little bit. Like it wasn't God's plan, but that was put in front of me, and He's like, "You decide." And I decided to get a first girlfriend, and it didn't go well. The biggest thing though, I learned so much about what I look for in a girl and religion, like my faith. Like it taught me a lot about my faith was senior year. But yeah, ever since now I lost weight in the last year. I started a health plan in 2020, beginning of COVID 2020. And I was 235 coming out of college and I lost 40 pounds. I was like 195. So to kind of go with that question is lately I've had more attraction because I've lost weight and I look better. But honestly, like I just try to stay focused on business and I'm just going to wait for God to put that right girl in front of me and a Christian girl in front of me. But
because He says equally yoked.
Yeah. That's what I learned after my first relationship was like everything. The craziest part about the Bible is everything He says. And like, it's like an instruction manual. The Bible is literally an instruction manual. And I think it's funny how a lot of people these days, including me, like have to go through a couple of things like mistakes to finally say, all right, I should probably look at the instruction manual. Like I should probably read it because He said the first 4 things and I did them wrong. Like, I don't know why I'm not looking at it. Yeah. The equally yoked, about relationships. And then what's the other one? I think it was just the equally yoked one about the relationships one that was focused on me and all, even like the whole like sexual stuff and all that, like He says in the Bible, like it's 100% true. Like now, like I'm realizing I'm like, dude, no wonder why He put that. Like He already knows what's going on. No wonder
He knows.
And that's where I get back to the point is like, we have to fail so many times to finally be like, He proved me wrong 4 times. Everything that happened, He already said in the Bible not to do. And now I know why He told me not to do that. And
listen, on that note,
sweating out here.
I failed way many more times than I got that figured out, brother. So that's part of the reason why I wanted you on the show. Part of the reason why, we're talking about other things about the show.
Yeah.
Is the contrast in who we are. At 20 years old, trust me when I tell you. Okay, I would not be making the decision. I was not making the decisions you were making. And that's why God made sure I didn't have the money you have. Because it would have been really bad. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I promise. I would have been dead long ago.
Oh, geez.
Okay. So someday we'll sit down and we'll talk about all of that nonsense.
All right.
But, and which is why, one of the reasons why I had to have you on the show is that, I have a story, that'll scare a lot of people, but you have a story too. And sometimes, and I need to encourage you to live that story and understand that you have a story. You don't have to be through all of the turmoil that a lot of kids your age in this world, drugs, alcohol, sex, that you're just not experiencing, at least. And again, I don't know everything, but at least to the level that a lot of kids your age are experiencing them.
I mean, to be honest, like the cool thing or the good thing I'm happy God gave me was like, I've just never I've never been interested in that stuff. Like I'm kind of, I don't even want to call myself like an introvert, but like never been a party guy. Like I've never understood it. Like, and I don't really, and I say this nicely, I don't like to be around a lot of like group of people. My anxiety gets like crazy. So I've never been a party person, which helped me not to get into drugs, not get into drinking. And honestly, like I would see kids my age doing it, and it would like, I would feel bad for them. Like, I'm like, I don't like, I almost like, I didn't make fun of them, but I was like, I just don't know why that, like, it's not cool at all to me. Like, it would honestly be a total, like, just weird. Like, why do you do that? Where other kids would look at me like, you're not cool. Like, why aren't you hanging out with us? But the thing, cool, I'm happy God gave me this trait, was like, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about stuff like that. Like, I genuinely, like, it goes out my ears. Like, I just don't care. And which I'm super happy about, is I've never been interested in that stuff, which has helped me focus on my businesses, and because I don't have bad distractions.
You didn't succumb to peer pressure.
Yeah.
Which is tough for a teenager.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I've seen peer pressure. It's real. Like, just simple, someone say like, oh, dude, just have this drink or whatever. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, that's the key word. It's not a big deal. But in reality,
everybody's doing it.
In reality, that it's not a big deal turns into, yeah, it's a huge deal. You need to stop, or you're going to become an addict, or whatever the case may be. So,
or you are an addict, or
yeah, exactly. So
another climb back out is tough.
Yeah, why digging yourself? And it's hard. Like, I know it's hard because I've seen kids in I see, you know what I mean? I just graduated high school like 2 years ago. Like, I see the peer pressure. Everyone wants to fit in, try to be cool, drink, do whatever everyone else is doing. But like, it's never been like that. And I'm happy. I thank the Lord I've never had any interest in that, like that. And I try to help. I try to surround myself around people that are like that, but it's hard to find. It truly is super hard to find these days. And the friends I'm with, I try to, hey, like, come on, let's just like chill. Let's not do that stuff. But yeah, that's kind of.
It's hard to find these days. I mean,
100%.
The world is not an easy place, man.
Definitely not.
And God talked about all those things, talked about alcohol, talked about drunkenness, talked about all of those things. So let's get to that then. It had to be God that got you through it, because, I didn't have God when I was your age, and that's, so I didn't have that to get through it. So tell me how and when God became a big part of your life.
Yeah. So when I was younger, my mom worked at the church. We always went to the church. South Hills, right behind our house. Like, it was, and like I said, I never like hung out. Like, I was kind of an introvert. I played baseball, hung out with close friends, but like, I never really got into crazy stuff, as a young kid. And then it's funny because I remember telling myself, like, 13, 14, middle school, because that's when kids first started like bringing up weird stuff that I never even knew about. You know what I mean? Like,
you never knew about it.
Santa's not real. Like, what the heck, like, and then even crazier stuff. You know what I mean? What was I gonna say? I remember it clearly. I don't know where I was, but I remember saying to myself, like, I see all these high schoolers like doing, like, I'll never do that bad stuff. Like, generally, I remember telling myself, like, I'm so like, I was generally like a super nice kid, just just a kid that would just super chill. And I was like, I'm never gonna be like those high schoolers that like drink, party, and like all that crazy stuff. And I got to the point in high school where now you could see the temptations coming and parties, and which I still luckily wasn't. Like, the early years of high school, like most of your freshman year, everyone tries to be cool, because freshman year, your first year of high school, let me try to be cool and impress everyone. I didn't have any crazy opportunities until about my senior year, when there was like parties that came up and drinking, to where it was the point where I was like, dude, I've waited so long not to do anything. Like, do I waste it? Do I just like go have fun now? Or do I like, that was the decision. And I would look back, I'm like, I was 14 saying I would never do this. And now there was an actual point in my life I was like, why not just go to a party? Like, I'm 17, I'm 18, like, why not? And that was the problem, where I was starting to saying why not to too many things in high school, especially my senior year, was like, why not? And that's the problem. Like, that's not a good word to say. Why not? Like, because there's no meaning. Like, let me just do it because, and that means nothing. You know what I mean? So, if that kind of answered, I don't know if it answered the question.
It's going to answer the question for some guys your age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of tough. It's tough to explain. I know kids are going, every kid goes through it, because the world today is pretty nasty in terms of like, even like relationship stuff. I mean, and I don't want to go crazy deep into this, but like the whole like cheating stuff from kids our age, like in high school, it's just weird because like if you cheat on girlfriend or boyfriend, it's almost like praised upon. Like I think it's like disgustingly weird. Like I've never thought like, because people will come back, oh, I hooked up with this person. Like, oh, and like, no way. Like, that's so sick, bro. Like, and like people like you get bonus points for cheating on somebody.
Yes.
And that hurts my brain. That literally hurts my brain how people think that's cool. Like, I don't think it's cool, but the world today is like just so like kids our age. It's the hardest. I believe it's the hardest ever to be a kid my age. 17, 18, 19, 20 right now. You could do whatever. Like there's so many things you could do bad. There's so many negative things you could do more than positive. You know what I mean? Like,
and they're looked at as positive.
Oh yeah. The negative things from a religious faith standpoint, drinking, drugs, sex, all that is like legit praised upon. Like this is how you know, like we're in the last times and everything the devil runs is all the good things or all the bad things that the Bible says not to do are praised upon in the world today. So the devil has full reign. It's easy for him. Like everything, like all the kids like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And he's like, sweet, cool, thanks. And that's the problem. I think today, the kids our age, it's so hard. It's so hard to be a good person because if you're a good person, you're like mediocre or you're put down upon, where if you're
you look at as a weirdo.
You're a cool guy. I do all drugs, drinking, sex, and all that. Like he's cool. He's the guy.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately, that's how the world is today.
It's been that way. It's to an extent, it's been that way, but it is. You're right. It is on a much greater level at this time, a much higher percentage at this time. A friend of mine was telling me the other day, a professor at CBU, he was telling me that the biggest portion of kids today identify as, when they asked about what religion are they identify as none.
Yeah, because they just don't even,
right.
They don't know. It's most people I talk to, like, it's like religious is not even a thing. They're just like, oh, I'm not religious.
Oh, I'm spiritual.
Yeah, they don't call themselves like atheists or anything. They're just like, I don't do anything, and that's normal. Right. Is to just like, hey, like
nothing.
You know what I mean? Nothing. So it's like,
right. And here's the thing, all you people, anybody who's listening out there, listen. The devil's neatest trick was to get you to not believe he exists. That's it.
Yeah.
He doesn't need you to believe that he exists. Devil doesn't need you to believe he exists. A little preaching here, I guess. He doesn't need you to believe that he exists. All he needs you to believe is that if you don't believe if you believe he doesn't exist, then you got to believe that God doesn't exist. And now he's got you anyway, brother.
Yeah. And it sucks that the devil has such an easy job. And if you actually look at like everything in the world, I would say legit 95% of it is towards negative. Like the devil's, I don't even know how to call it, but you know what I'm saying? Like 95% of this world is all just bad stuff that is against the faith.
That's right. And listen, there's going to be people that you say the word devil at your age or even at my age, you say the word devil and they're like, you believe in that.
Yeah.
You're a weirdo for thinking that he's real.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I haven't had anybody genuinely like say anything like, hey, you're weird and I don't know if it's because I'm just so like confident about, I've never had somebody come up to me and be like, you're weird because you're Christian. I've generally not, but you definitely have people looking at you and they're like, you can feel it, but nobody said anything to me, but
maybe not weird, but wrong. Yeah. You're wrong.
Oh, 100%.
You're definitely wrong.
Yeah. They're like, you can't force anything on me. That's kind of like, and that's what unfortunately, social media is kind of, and social media is interesting. I mean,
you talk about your faith and they think, and then they turn it around like you're forcing it on them. All you're doing is telling them about what you believe.
Oh, I think it's truly because when we, talk things out of the Bible, in today's world, it's going against a lot of everything from the Bible is going against the world today. So you instantly are looked at as a bad person. Like, hey, you can't, like same-sex marriage and all that stuff. Like when we just generally, hey, this is what the Bible says about it. They're like, you can't tell me what to do. Or we're just telling, because the Bible, it comes off so it comes off offensive to people because it's telling them that what they're doing is wrong, but they don't believe it because they're stuck in the world's standards of living.
There's some, and I can't think of the scripture right now, but if you think of it, Roman, something about, the one, if you're walking in darkness, you don't want to be in the light, that it's easier to stay in the dark.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's easier.
It's easier.
You don't have to take risks. You don't have to put yourself out there. And that's the same thing with business.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
It's truly business is all about risk. And kind of just like to go on about the business part, the biggest question I think we talked about was people come up to me and they're like, that's so cool. You're a YouTuber, business person, whatever. How do you do it? And the biggest thing for me, I'm going to be honest, it's risk. Like I'm very uncomfortable in business. Well, not very uncomfortable. I make myself uncomfortable. Like you're not going to do well at something, faith, anything. Like you're going to be uncomfortable because you're going out of your comfort zone to build something. So for me, building a business is risk, and you got to you're going to fail. That's the craziest part. You're going to fail 9 out of 10 times. And not so much like religion. You're not going to fail 9 out of 10 times, but it goes to the fact, like I'll literally have a week where I'm into the Bible doing so well. And then all of a sudden the next week I'm like 4 days in a row, I don't do anything. Like it hurts my brain thinking, how can I go so solid for a week? And then 4 days in a row, like solid, I'm reading the Bible. Like I feel great. And then the next week I'm like, nah, I don't need it for 4 days. It's just like, it hurts my brain knowing that that's possible, but that's like the failing part in learning.
That's right.
So,
well, the devil is the ruler of this world. So
yeah, 100%.
He can influence.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's get back a little bit to the business, and I want to talk about because again, we've only got 23 minutes. So
I did go fast.
I tell you, and we're not even close to done.
Oh yeah.
So
part 2.
Let's talk about Germinix.
Yep.
So one of the other things, and I think I'm not going to say that this is where you got it, but one of the things you hear in church a lot is if you see a need, you fill it.
Yeah.
That's what you hear for ministry. See a need, fill it. See a need, fill it. So 2020 hits, and which I know for a lot of people, it's been an awful year and a lot of turmoil, a lot of adversity. But there are some of us who have had I was talking to Roman, my guy here, and then me. I've had a great 2020 in a lot of aspects of my life. Mm-hmm. Your 2020 has been solid at the very least, right?
Yeah.
So you saw a need and you
Mm-hmm.
filled it.
Mm-hmm.
So talk a little bit about Germinix and how that came up and how your faith kept you pushing through it.
Yeah. And this is an interesting story for sure. So this was right after I dropped out of college. Yeah, because I dropped out of college in December 2019, so COVID hit, The craziest part is I remember seeing about the Chinese virus, when they called it at the time. I actually, because I invest in stocks and all that stuff, so I was always looking at the news, and it kept coming up, and I looked into it. And I personally, I even have a picture of notes of me, talking about it. I said, there's no way this doesn't, if it's in China, there's no way it doesn't come over to US. Like, there's just no way, like it has, just time. Well, yeah, February it hit, or January, I don't know when it came over. And Germinix was kind of already a thought. And to be honest with you, I saw an ad on Instagram of a company doing it in New York, because New York was like the first crazy outbreak. Saw a company doing it in New York. And I saved the post. I went to bed and woke up the next morning, and like instantly for some reason, I was like, I have to like just look at this post again. And like, it was weird. Like God was definitely like waking me up. He's like, just look at the post. And I was like, all right, let me look more into it. Let me read. Like, this whole disinfecting idea truly started in 2020. Like, there was no such thing really before that.
Right.
So I looked at this company from New York and just they were doing it in New York, and I was like, there was literally nothing outside. There's nothing in California alone. Right. Just janitorial companies, no disinfecting company. And I got this like feeling. I was like, let's try it. So I don't really remember the details of how it first started. I literally just did tons of research. Like, I didn't know anything about cleaning, nothing about disinfecting. I studied this stuff for a week. I knew all the terminology, everything that went into it. And this is the best part. My dad's gonna love this. I go to my dad for all the ideas all the time. I'm like, hey, Dad, I got this idea. Cool. It dies off 2-3 weeks later. Failed, whatever. So I came to my dad. I said, Dad, there's this disinfecting idea. It makes a lot of money. I'm calling these companies out in the East Coast that started first. They're charging this. This is what it costs. Like, and he's like, oh, cool. You know, and he's gonna like this. He realistically didn't give me time of day. He's like, cool idea, do your thing. Because before that, I had 4 or 5 companies that failed. So he, you know, all right, cool. You know, probably gonna fail. Well, I just started growing it and researching, and I finally got to the point where I had all the information. Like, I was an expert in the field to a sense where I knew everything was going on, and I started build the company, which wasn't Germanex at first. I think I called it like Germ Guys or something weird. Another shout out, Russ Scares. I was at their house during COVID for like a week, just grinding on Germanex. The hardest part about this is I was throwing money into it, and I literally had no outlook. I said, I'm throwing money at this. I realistically thought it wasn't going to work. I said, it's worth a shot. And I was nervous. Every time I put my credit card in to buy stuff I had to get tons of insurance, licensing, all that stuff. I'm like, dude, what happens if it dies off in 2 months? Like, I'm going to lose all this money. But God just kept pushing me. And back to the story, I was in my room writing on my notepad ideas for the company. And I literally, in my room, said, I'm done. I quit. This is like, why did I come up with a cleaning company? Like, this realistically is like, this is stupid. Like, what am I doing? Like, this is just a weird idea. And I was almost done. Website was almost done and everything. And I just got definitely God was talking to me. He said, you're already this far, just do it. Like, you're literally almost done. It was definitely him telling me. The devil was definitely not trying to tell me to keep going. And I was like, I'm already this far. God's like, just finish it. You're already I was a couple days away from launching, but I was just so mad and everything was not going right. I think insurance,
scared.
Oh, 100% was scared.
Right.
And my dad was starting to understand it, but he still wasn't like, oh, this is a great idea. And Germanex actually came, shout out again, Russ Garris. He realistically gave me the name because I was like, Germ Bros. And he's like, well, why don't you do something like Terminex? Like, the Terminex company? He goes, Germanex. I'm like, dude, that's a really good idea. So Germanex, I came up with the logo because all the logo and website I built myself, and we launched. First month, really nothing. I didn't even have, I just friends and family. Oh, Cody has this disinfecting company. Cool. The second month, I got contracts with people and building the business. It was cool, but there were, maybe one job a week. Well, come around June, July, that's when COVID was crazy. Luckily, I was able to get contracts with some big companies, and we did well with them. And long story short, summertime was insane. I mean, we were working every day. We did well with these big companies we started out first. Of course, we're getting calls from huge companies. I was like, what? This is crazy. I would never thought to be talking to a CEO of this company, a CEO of this company. Right. And it just kept growing and growing. And I'm not even there was a lot of struggles. I'm talking to an insurance company. I was 19 at the time. And the guy goes, you're 19 years old, dude. I've never even talked to a 19-year-old about insurance for their business. He's like, this is the first for me. It was tough. That was tough because insurance was tough. Licensing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I had to get. I learned so much from building this company because this was YouTube hard, but realistically it's more like a self business, where Germanex was I have to make sure if something happened, this was so more professional. I had to figure it out, and I wanted to do it right the first time. This has helped me mature a lot. The people I'm talking to are not YouTube kids. These are ones that 40-year-old owners, multimillionaires. I can't joke around with these people. So I've matured a lot this year because I have to I can't talk to adults I'm hey, what's up, man? I can be very professional to earn their business. So Germanex, it's been it was going up and down. I would have a good month, bad month, figuring out, fine tuning, hiring people. It was crazy. It's been crazy. Obviously with the new COVID stuff, it's been going up and up. This company's been up since April, May. So I don't even know what that is. 8 months maybe. And it's crazy. I mean, I've had people that want to buy franchises. I've had someone try to buy out the whole company. It's crazy. But during that time, the whole faith part is this company's made me my anxiety's going. I'm always nervous. I'm out of my comfort zone. But that's how you build you're not going to build something successful if you're just always comfortable, because you have no you're comfortable. I don't want to do anything. So this company's put me out of my comfort zone. I met so many people, and the faith aspect is just, I've noticed from my anxiety, sometimes he'll calm me down with look, and I don't know if I don't know if Germanex is God's plan, for me to retire. but I know it's definitely a stepping stone, money-wise, meeting people, that he's helping me meet people and helping me make money where I can use that money for good, and meeting people that could lead me down a path that I wouldn't have went down if I didn't meet them through Germanex. So it's like a ladder effect. Like Germanex, it's crazy. And I don't know how to explain it, like the whole ladder effect, but just meeting people that I wouldn't have met if I would have quit that night on my bed saying, screw it, I'm done, I'm giving up. I would have not met people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
If I would have quit that night,
Yeah.
we would be maybe having this meeting, but not talking about Germanex, or maybe not having the meeting. Like, it's crazy how that stuff works. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
If I would have quit, my life would have been different in a million different ways. So it's like, that's what the business part is. You don't know until you try. That's what I tell my buddies is like, hey, I want to do YouTube. Hey, I want to do my clothing company. You don't know if it's going to be successful if you don't try, if you give up, how are you going to know it was going to do anything? Like, if I would have quit Germanex, I would have never known this would have been a successful company. I would be sitting in my room doing something else. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my thing for kids that my age is you got an idea and you truly believe about it. Even if you don't, like, cause I believed about it, but I would go back and forth. I didn't believe about it. I did. Just go for it. You're going to fail. Like, don't even think you're not going to fail. That's the thing. You're not going to be perfect on the first time. My YouTube wasn't the first one. I had a couple, you know what I mean? Like, you just got to for kids my age, just keep going. Like, you enjoy something, try it out. If it fails, move on with your life. Nothing changed. Like, you just failed, just keep going. If you don't try it, you would have never known what this path would have been. It's just like, it's hard to like explain, but
I get it. And it's not just guys your age. I mean,
yeah, it's everyone.
It's everyone. That's
even
right.
like adults. Like, I've seen during COVID, there's so many new companies that have, at least on TikTok, like there's so many people that are making stuff now because they're like, well, I got nothing else better to do, so let's make a new company. So it's a blessing in disguise for some people. During this, if COVID never happened, some people, Germanex would have never been a thing. Some companies for other people wouldn't have been a thing. So it's really what you do with the free time, because COVID hurt a lot of people, but some people are like, well, let me try to make something out of it. And it could change from now. They could, 20 years down the line, they'd be like, during 2020 COVID, I'm where I am today because of what happened. So good or bad, even that stuff happened to bad people. I think I don't even want to say they want to learn from it, but
no, they have to learn from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to.
I didn't want to be like mean about it. Like,
you have to learn.
Yeah.
You listen, one of the things my guys from my Bible study always tell me is you got to praise God in the bad times too.
Mm-hmm. Which is hard.
It's hard.
I'm going to be honest. When I was in college, I'm like, God, why in the world am I at a Christian school? Why am I having to make this decision? Like, you know what I mean? Like, even though I wanted to get out of school, why are you making me? Why are you making me and my family like kind of disconnect because of this decision? Why are you putting me in this? Like, it just didn't make sense. But now kind of real, maybe it was his plan to, hey, you're out of the school, go start Germanex. You know what I mean? Like, if I didn't quit school, Germanex would have never been a thing. It's crazy just thinking so many things will change. Like, your daily life, you do stuff, you don't do stuff, that changes. Like, it's crazy. What you do, like every action you do or don't do changes something in your future path.
That's correct.
But
it's refreshing to see somebody your age doing that. Look, we're running out of time.
I know.
Bring up show me Team Jesus,
Team Jesus. So yeah, I don't know where the camera's at. So, wrong side. So Team Jesus. Jesus.
You can see him, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of go in with that. My buddy Brandon Alvarez, we went to middle school together at Crossroads. I only knew him for a year, but we became really close friends. He was younger than me. I went to Corona High School freshman, sophomore year. I transferred to Centennial junior, senior year. Well, he's at Centennial. We've like rekindled our friendship. Senior year, we had the first Christian group on campus, FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And we basically got athletes together that had faith, Christian faith. And we literally sit at lunch, just eat our lunch and have a pastor talk to us. It was super refreshing. You know what I mean? Like because high school, obviously it's high school. There's drama and
it's not refreshing.
Yeah. It's drama and temptations. You're not getting anything positive out of that. So it was cool to have a Christian group of people. Now I knew who was Christian on campus, which there were still people obviously that came later. So FCA was a group. And they got so big to the point, this was junior year when it first started. Senior year was the second year of FCA. It got so big where we're letting people, like, you don't even have to be an athlete, just come on in. It was super awesome. We had pastors and stuff. Well, during that time, Brandon played football, and he runs second lunch. I ran first lunch, and they would call us like the Jesus guys, like the Jesus group, like, you know what I mean? We're the Christian group. We're the Jesus. Hey, there's the Jesus guys, Team Jesus, all that stuff. Well, Brandon was like Team Jesus. Like that was kind of, we would always just like joke around like, hey, Team Jesus guys, like just as a total joke, me and him. And when was it? This year during COVID, we were texting back and forth. He goes, hey, I'm going to launch this company called Team Jesus, like during COVID. And I was like, dude, that's a sick idea. So he launches it, does the whole Team Jesus thing, does really well. And like, remember, it was kind of just a joke between me and him. Like we said Team Jesus, like, well, it took off. And a month goes by. He goes, hey, like, I need some things done for the company. Let's partner. Like, you know what I mean? Let's do it. And I was like, heck yeah. Like I wanted to be a part of it. And so, yeah, Team Jesus, ever since, I mean, we've been growing. We got a website now and we're at HSM. But back to the whole story of if COVID never would have happened, Team Jesus probably wouldn't have been a thing because he's a football guy. He's at practice all the time. But during COVID, he had time off. And he goes, well, I got to do something. So let's make a religious shirt. Let's make Team Jesus. So that kind of goes back to like everything happens for a reason in a sense. If COVID would never happen, Team Jesus would have never been a thing. Germanex would have never been a thing. And those are positive things. I know a lot of negative things come out of stuff too. But yeah, Team Jesus, it's cool because, and to finish on the money part, I know we have 8 minutes, is when I first started business.
I need a few of them.
What?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. When I first started business, money was everything. I'll make the most money and money, and awesome. Since I've matured through age and I've seen a lot of stuff, to be 100% honest with you, I'm confident to say it's still a little bit about money, but it's more of me now. Like generally for Germanex now, I generally get excitement sending out crews knowing that we're helping, like we're generally helping people open their stores so they don't lose money.
That's right.
Where before I was like, oh, just sweet. That's a couple $100, this, and this. Same with YouTube, same with Team Jesus. And what I was telling Brandon, he's going to like this one because I was telling him, he's the same. He reminded me, or he reminded, well, I don't even know how to say it. He reminded me of myself when I was younger. He's just like, his mom's like, hey, can I get a shirt for my friend? Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, all right, it's $35. I'm like, dude, just give your mom the shirt for free. And he's like, no, like, I want to make money. I said, Brandon, I promise you, I was just like you. Like I would, if I had a business, like I'm not giving you a discount. Like I don't care. I'm making my money. But I've realized now it's business is all about relationships. The more you treat people, and it's kind of, I'm trying to word it correctly, but kind of getting back to the point of Brandon, I was like, look, man, this is like the cool thing about Team Jesus is we're not selling a shirt called Jimmy John's shirts. It actually means something. You're wearing the shirt. You're a part of Team Jesus. So
would God want you to sell that shirt to your mom at full price?
No. So, and that's what I was trying to tell him. It was like, look, man, this is a cool opportunity that we're selling something that actually means something. And yeah, the whole money part is important, of course. But and I was telling him, like, I'm finally matured to the point where money's not everything. It's still obviously a little part there, but I've matured to the point of it's why
it's got to be part of why you do it.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the world's around money now. You can't live if you don't got money.
That's right.
But I've matured to the point where, like, even driving here, I said, I'm happy I make money so I can give more at church. I can give to homeless, even buying somebody lunch. Like I take one of my friends out for lunch and I buy him lunch and he's like, oh, thanks, man. Like, I appreciate it. Like, I'm not working right now, so I appreciate you buying me lunch. Like stuff like that, that I would never do before because it's like, oh, I'm frugal. I can't spend my money. I'm grateful that I can use my money to make somebody else feel better. And that's, I think, truly the goal. I think that's why you made me German. Hey, here's money to do. And I still think I have a purpose. I still think I need to do something more with my money in terms of giving and et cetera.
Well, listen, you may not look at it, what you're saying and how you're talking, but this is giving too. You're giving. So real quick, because I do need a few minutes.
Okay.
And we're not, it's okay. Because
we'll have a part two.
We're going to do this again.
Got to have a part two.
And as far as I'm concerned, again and again and again and again. So, so give us your websites.
Got it. GermanXDisinfecting.com is Germanex. So Germanex is hard to spell. Germ, INIX. YouTube is Highlight Reel Sports. Highlight, and then Reel is REEL, and then sports, and then Team Jesus is teamjesusbrand.com.
teamjesusbrand.com. Now we're going to post all of that. Well, we're going to post those websites so that you can visit those websites and support a young man that is trying to do the right thing and helping others as well, and helping some of the young guys understand what it takes, and that it can't be all done correctly or to the same level without Jesus.
100% agree.
It just cannot.
He won't. I don't think he would even let you, to be honest with you.
That's the truth. So a couple other things. I got to let everybody know that we are going to be on here again. We're going to do this again next week. Yeah,
We have to.
okay. So we're going to do this again next week. I'm going to have Cody here again next week. I'm not sure exactly what day, but we're going to have us a day. I'm thinking Tuesdays. I don't know.
Okay.
But that's the day we're going to air it. So we might not always be live.
Okay.
Maybe next week we go live again. Yeah. But going forward, I'm not always going to be live, folks. It's a lot. I'm trying to think of my guests coming in. If they can't make it on a day within that hour, then now I'm shot. And so trying to help them out. So, but going forward, Men of Impact, we meet every Saturday morning at Starbucks out on Indian Truck Trail at the Starbucks. Now, here's the thing. Men of Impact, listen, guys, you're going to have an impact. All men out there, you're going to have an impact no matter what you do. It's going to be negative or positive.
Negative or positive.
That's right. Which one are you going to be? That's what I'm telling you. We got to step up, do the right things by our families, our communities, our neighborhoods, and the world. This place ain't going to get fixed unless we figure it out together. You can love Jesus, which means you got to love your enemy. So stop with all the hate out there. Let's spread some love, okay? Just because somebody believes differently than we do doesn't mean there's something wrong with them. And if you think that, then there's something wrong with you, right? So we meet every Saturday morning down there on Indian Truck Trail at the Starbucks. But here's what I'm saying. If you're a man of impact, start your own. It doesn't matter where you're at. If you're listening to this, here's how we started. Me and a friend of mine sat down and studied the Bible together one day. Now we're about 30 people strong. We've got a couple of different nights, and it would be awesome if we just had, as a group, here's my big thing, my big vision for Men of Impact. We have different chapters all around the country. Where I'm going to start in Corona, but let's start in Corona. But if you're out there and you're listening and you're in a different state, call up a friend. It doesn't have to be a Saturday morning. What I would think is that we can all study together the same book at the same times. And then maybe one day we all meet together a couple times a year, have us a big old shindig with a bunch of men praising Jesus. Yeah. We have guys here that can talk about business. We have guys that can talk about hurts, addictions, all of different things so that we can help out other men. And we're still working on our mission statement, but help out other men to see how they can be a man of impact in a positive way, right? Which is why I bring Cody on here. He can help, and which is why I think the dynamic is something else. We have a wide range of age groups, and one day when he hears my story, he's going to flip out, and he'll understand we have a wide range of things that we can help and talk about and discuss. If you haven't been through it, it's hard to discuss it. All my guys, another thing I want to talk to you about, my guys, don't do anything until you call me. Like, in other words, if you've got a business that you need disinfected, don't call somebody else. You call me, I'll call Cody. At the very least, I'm sending you somebody you can trust. Somebody's not going to rip you off just to rip you off. Right? He's going to help you get open. He's going to help you. I got guys that can build houses. I got guys that can counsel you if for addictions and hurts and whatever. I've got somebody out there. If I don't know somebody, they know somebody that you can trust. It's going to help you out.
Christian community of businesses.
That's correct. But so again, guys, get out there, get in your church, be a man of impact. Start in your home. If you're not doing the right things by your wife, your kids, man, figure it out. If you're not sure, like Cody was saying, the Bible is a book of instruction. Bible, what's it stand for? Basic instruction. Basic?
Before leaving Earth.
Basic instructions before leaving Earth.
I didn't know
that is correct.
Basic
instructions before leaving Earth. Thank you, Roman. So if you're not sure, call Men of Impact, MENOFIMPAKT at gmail.com. If you have any questions, send me an email. Okay. We're going to do this again next week. Not sure when, but Cody's going to post it. I'm going to post it. We'll see it. Everybody have a great week. Jesus loves you.
Yep.
And so do we.
Let's go.
All right.
Was lost but not forgotten. Redeemed